first question, pretty much like, how are you? Like, how is quarantine treating you? How have you been busy?
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm actually very well, all things considered. I'm grateful to have my home. I'm grateful to live in the city of Los Angeles. Um, I'm grateful to be home. I don't get to be home a lot, so that's something that I really, ow, ow. That's something that I really cherish. It's something that means a lot to me is just being able to be home with my fiance and my dog and my immediate family is like 15 minutes from me, so I get to see them as well. They're part of our quarantine cell, and um, so I mean, like my spirits have been really good. I think that also just having a schedule is a massive part of that for me as well. Um, I'm up at 6 a.m. every day, cup of coffee, a little anime, and I start my stream on Twitch at 7 a.m. and I go till 3 p.m. And then I usually have team calls, production meetings. Maybe I have to record some voiceover for a show that I'm working on, or record some music. I'm writing a show right now, so like there's all sorts of stuff that happens pretty much until like 5 or so, and then I have dinner with Ellie and we watch a movie and we hang, and then like by the time 9 o'clock rolls around, I am ready for bed and have a glass of wine and go and like throw on a classic Disney movie and fall asleep, and then I'm up at 6 a.m. the next day. So it's pretty regimented, it's nice. It's nice to have that.
Yeah.
It's nice to wake up and have purpose every day. I think as humans, we need that. That's something that I feel like a lot of people are kind of struggling with right now, especially because we can't hide from anything. We're spending a lot of time in stillness and in quiet and in our thoughts. And I think now is like the great time to really reflect on what makes you happy and
Yeah.
how you like to function and what makes you tick, without necessarily like overwhelming yourself with a whole bunch of things that you feel like you need to do or need to get done. This isn't about that. It's just about like taking the time to be with yourself.
I said I mean, you are quite a busy fella. Like, you have
Mm.
your, I totally, like, just imagining balancing all the things that you're mentioning is stressing me out.
Yeah, I mean, it's just part of it, and I have a great team too, and they keep everything running and moving. And, one thing that I know about myself, therapy is amazing, and I'm a massive advocate for it, mental health in general. But one thing that I learned about myself is it's it, I have to be busy to be happy. I have to keep moving and shaking and doing things and have places to be and things to do and like needing to be needed. I suppose maybe it's because I'm a 3 on the Enneagram, but
And deep,
having that. What'd you say?
deep here, needing to be needed.
Yeah, needing to be needed. I need to be needed, and that's just like it's part of humanity, and I think that we all have that. But threes definitely do. But I know that one of the things that makes me tick and one of the things that makes me happy is genuinely just being busy and having stuff to do, having things to work on. And I was working on Dear Evan Hansen on Broadway. We had the Wednesday night show. It was a great show. Got up the next morning, Thursday morning. I streamed. Was getting ready to go to my vocal lesson and then go grab a bite to eat and then go to the theater and do an evening show. And I get this text message that Broadway was shut down. And I was like, okay, well, what does this mean for me? And I immediately go into business mode. I immediately go into like, all right, if Broadway shut down, I need to go home. I need to go back to LA
Hmm.
because there's not a whole lot that I can do in the city, especially like New York is definitely dealing with the brunt of it. I called my team. I was like, we have to talk about what's gonna keep things going. You know what I mean? What am I gonna wake up and do every day? And of course, like my gaming management loaded. They were like, well, you have a lot of time to stream now, and I was like, yes, I do. So that's been every day except for Saturdays because everybody needs an off day. Um, so yeah, that's been that. That's been quarantine for me. That and like glass of wine here and there.
You mentioned your music. We are very excited today because you teased this on your story, but you have
Yeah,
a music video out, right? Tell us.
that's right. That's correct. Yeah. New single, Walking on the Ceiling. I've actually had the record for a while. It's been one that's meant a lot to me. Um, and, I mean, the thing that I love to talk about the most as a musician is kind of the reason why I started making music and wanting to make music in the first place was my love for R&B. Um, I could go through the laundry list of artists that inspired me in the first place. Tank, Joe, Jagged Edge, Boys to Men, Brandy is probably the goddess of R&B in my opinion, and I'm so grateful for her and her artistry because Full Moon is kind of the Bible for every R&B artist.
Shout out to her version of Cinderella. Wonderful.
Oh, the video of her and Whitney in the studio singing Impossible, and she goes, Impossible. Whitney goes, no, what are you doing down there? Get up there.
So, honestly,
it's everything. It's everything. So yeah, so Walking on the Ceiling was like just kind of that nod back to why I love music and why I wanted to make it in the first place. And you know, when we started talking about what the video is supposed to be like, you know, there's like, you know, is it going to be this like stark white, like sexy room, super like black and white, a female dancer just kind of going all over the place? And I was like, you know, especially now during this time, I miss my band. I have the best band in the world. I genuinely think that I have the most talented band in the whole music industry. And I miss them, and I miss touring, and I miss traveling with them and playing shows and goofing off in like the hotel and making music and the whole thing. And to me, the only right way to make this video was to have all of them included. My favorite version of Walking on the Ceiling is the live version, like us doing it live is my favorite version of the record. And I was like, that's what the video needs to be. It needs to be that now, especially because like my BGVs are all over the place. Like 2 of my background vocalists are based in Orlando, one's in Texas, and then my other 3 bandmates are here in LA, but like I'm not seeing them right now. But we have the capability of having everyone just record on their own. You know, they're all tech savvy enough to set up their phones and computers and do the thing. And so putting kind of a compilation together of all of us doing this live, it was the most cathartic thing for me that I've experienced in a while. So I'm excited for everybody to see it. One of the best pieces of advice that I've gotten as a live musician and recording artist was get background vocalists that are better than you, because they will elevate you in the best way. And I found 3 of the most unbelievable background vocalists on the planet, and God, I just miss them so much. So we have my background vocalist there on the left, JR. The guy in the middle is DJ. The guy on the right's Omar. And then drummer you see at the bottom left-hand side of that right little conglomerate there. His name is also DJ. And then Kenobi on the keys is also our band director, and then our music director. And then you see just to the left of me right now is Nicholas, who is actually he's made quite a name for himself on Instagram just in general as a guitarist and musician. So you guys should all go check him out. Nicholas Venaglu is his name, but he's stupidly talented. Plays for Bozzy as well, and he's one of my best friends. They really all are. They're all my family. Those are my boys. They'll all be at my wedding. You know.
Oh, you mentioned your wedding, so I saw you just posted about how it's like the 1-year anniversary of your engagement. Is that right?
Yeah.
So I imagine your plans have changed a little bit.
A little bit. I mean, like the wedding itself hasn't changed. It's still where it's going to be. We are getting married in Hawaii, and so it's still like nothing has really changed except for the date. The venue, like all the plans, the venue, the whole the party, the whole 9 is all the same. It's just a little later, and that's okay. It's out of our control. I mean, the bottom line is that we're already married for the most part. Like we haven't. We live together. We do life together. We've been best friends since we were 9 and 13 years old. Like we grew up together, so we've been in each other's lives for such a long time. And, now we've been together for closing in on 4 years. And, here we are now looking at November. And it's going to be here sooner than we know. We've already been quarantined for 2 months. Like time is flying.
It is flying by. I will say that. Like to think that it's been over 2 months since I was in the office, for example, is wild to think about.
Yeah. It's an interesting thought. I think that a lot of things. I don't think that things will ever be the same. And I think for the better. To be honest with you, I think that we have gotten a good grasp on a sense of control that we have in our lives and how we're able to function and move forward without certain constraints and whatnot. I think that we've all figured out how to function in a really, really great way. Albeit it was forced on us. I don't think that I think that it would need to be forced on us for us to kind of grow and evolve as a species, as humanity. And I think that this is done. I think that this is ultimate. I mean, granted, it's been very sour as well. I think that it's ultimately done a lot of good for us as well as humanity. And the earth, like, honestly, like, I love the fact that the earth gets to kind of take a nice inhale right now.
Yeah.
You know? Air's cleaner, water's moving. It's nice.
Yes. I mean, I think it's definitely good to have that sort of like positive outlook on what is ultimately like a major tragedy. But,
Absolutely.
There's also good to come out of it. And I appreciate you sharing your perspective.
Yeah, totally.
I think we all need to look on the bright side a little bit.
There's silver lining in all of it, I mean, the bottom line is that all of it is entirely out of our control. And this is the life that we're living right now. And that's that part of it sucks. The fact that, like, our sense of control is kind of evaporated. But I think that at the end of the day, I mean, regardless of all of the circumstances, like, we're still here and we're good. And if we're fortunate enough to have good health, and if we're fortunate enough to have an income, the things that we really need to hold on to are the fact that, like, there's some great things to look for, like a reinvigorated sense of appreciation for the little things in life, right? Like going to a coffee shop with a homie, going and having a midday drink with your mom.
Yeah.
Going to the movie theater. Yeah. Oh my God. Going to the movie theater, going to the beach. I mean, the little things that, like, we oftentimes, like, wouldn't even do in the first place because we were too lazy, Now it's just the sense of, like, dang, I can't, so I want to.
Yeah. Is there anything that in particular that you're really looking forward to doing once all this is settled down, besides getting married?
I mean, there's the little things, like some of the specificity that I just talked about, but, like, the main thing really is going back to Broadway opening back up and putting that polo back on. I mean, that's something that I miss so much.
Yeah. And, do you miss that cast?
Oh, very much so. We're all still very much in touch, though. We keep up with one another and check in on one another and have Zoom calls and
what a tease, though, for you to do one show or two shows or whatever, and then suddenly, just kidding.
Right? Yeah. No. So I had been on for a few weeks at that point. I've been on for about a month.
Oh, okay.
But Sabrina Carpenter only did 2 performances at Mean Girls.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's done. We have in the cast, actually, in the Dear Evan Hansen cast, we have a friend who just started her run as the new Anna in Frozen on Broadway and did, like, 3 shows. And now Frozen is done. It's canceled. They just announced that Frozen won't return to Broadway once Broadway opens back up.
Really?
Yeah. There's a handful of shows. They just put out a list. There's a handful of shows that won't pick back up, unfortunately.
What is it like being a Black man in the business? And obviously you're in many businesses, so this is a broad question.
Yeah, it's a great question. Well, it's very interesting because I'm mixed, right? So I have a little bit of everything. I'm white, I'm Black, I'm Asian, I'm Pacific Islander, I'm a whole bunch of stuff. I'm Italian, I'm Greek, I'm, like, my family's from England originally. Like, I'm all sorts of things. I think that, like, one of the biggest challenges that I found that I faced, especially earlier on in my career, when I wasn't looked at as, like, a quote unquote leading man for something, was that I was never Black enough or white enough for a majority of things that I went out for. It was really hard for creatives and casting directors to, like, even romanticize the idea of putting a mixed family together. It just seemed, I guess it was, like, too daunting for them, or but the bottom line is that that's the representation of America these days.
Yep.
I mean, you can look at
this.
Yeah, exactly. and like, I don't even know what you are, but you're not just one thing, right? Like, it's just that's all
I am
of
also
us.
mixed. Yeah, I'm
that's
Filipino and white myself.
There you go. See, like, that's all of us, right? Like, none of us are just the one thing. But I think, and it's like, America's going to continue to get more and more beige, and I think and that's the beauty. It's the beauty of, like, our growth, and the industry has come a long way. Still has a long way to go, but I'm happy to be one of the ones to help kind of break the mold. The first person of color to play Duty in Grease on a large platform.
I love that.
First
You
person
were
of color
cast
to
so
play.
well. That was the perfect casting.
Thank you. Yeah, first person of color to play Mark in a large environment in like a live setting like that. Mark Cohen in Rent, and Evan on Broadway, the first full time person of color to play Evan on Broadway. Like I'm honored by all of that, and I just wish that I saw more of that. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Bottom line is that the industry has come a long way, and I'm proud of the entertainment industry. I'm proud to be a part of the entertainment
Yeah.
industry. I will also say that we still have a long way to go, but I'm
Oh,
glad
yeah.
that there are more people of color, and even people that are not of color, that want to see more of that and are doing everything that they can to build that kind of representation.
What do you think you would do if you weren't a singer or actor?
I mean, I'm a bit of a nerd, right? I love a lot of things. Again, this is probably me being a 3 in the Enneagram. If I find something that I'm interested in, I deep dive into it, right?
Yeah.
Like I discovered that I loved wine. I started studying wine and like aspiring to become a sommelier, so that I can open restaurants one day. I love anime. I've been playing video games for 26 years, and that's something that's just always kind of made sense to me. I think that ultimately, what's in my soul is just entertainment in general, and figuring out how to bridge some gaps, specifically in the gaming industry, because now Hollywood is so interested in gaming because of the surge of in popularity, with Twitch and content creators and whatnot. Although this has been a thing for such a long time,
Yeah.
people have been streaming for close to a decade now.
Mm-hmm.
Professional gamers like in e-athletes and whatnot, they have been competing since the late 90s. I mean, this has been a thing for such a long period of time. But I'm just excited that people are really starting to understand how these two worlds come together, and to be a catalyst in that is something that's very important to me. So I'd probably do work in the gaming industry still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have any, I'm just curious, are there any video games that you think would make a great adaptation for a movie or even the stage?
Yeah, plenty. How much time do you have? Like,
I'm here all day.
yeah, I mean, I think that one of the deepest games in terms of lore and how many titles there are, is Kingdom Hearts. I would love to see an animated series for Kingdom Hearts, just because it just runs so deep, that story.
Yeah.
Um,
What is a goal you're willing to do anything to reach in your career? Anything is pretty broad, but
yeah, I don't really know how to answer that question. What's a goal you're willing to do anything to reach in your career? I want full dictation of my time. That's what I want. I want to be an amazing husband and father and family member and friend before anything else. And so to have dictation of my time would give me more flexibility to do that. So that's really it. That's like my main goal in my work and in my career. Okay.
How did you know this is what you wanted to do?
It just hits you.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Mm-hmm.
No, you'll regardless of what it is, regardless of what industry you want to work in, what career path you choose, it will hit you one day when you're just like, that's what I want to wake up and do every day. And I think that there are a lot of people that are fearful of something maybe as fickle as the entertainment industry. I thankfully just had a lot of support from my family.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, do it. Go for it. Like, you're born to do it, and you love it, and that's what you want to do. Go for it. That's what you do. Just work hard. That was it.
Yeah.